Hey, hallå, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, so welcome to Closet Movie Rambles, where I talk about old movies that I found in my closet while cleaning. This week's movie is Curious George 2, Follow That Monkey. It's about 1 hour and 60 minutes long. And the movie starts with George the monkey monkeying around town, grabbing a newspaper and going to see his caretaker Ted. And he wakes him up because Ted is late for work. So Ted is supposed to be the new museum director because he works as like a junior at that place. But he just needs to convince the board of this that he's fit for the job. And then George, Ted, and Maggie, I think Maggie is Ted's girlfriend or something, they're about to go to the circus. So they see this performance with a magician and his assistant and this elephant called Kayla. And I think Kayla gets stage fright and she makes a mess of the whole thing. And then Ted is picked up for a magic trick and George goes backstage to comfort Kayla, and they leave out the back door because she wants to see her family. So that's the whole plot of this movie, basically. Kayla wants to see her family again. So George brings Kayla to the hotel where they stay at, and there's this funny scene where the lobby guy, handling security, he's just listening to like a Russian composer or something. He doesn't hear the big elephant in the room, which is kind of funny. And Kayla goes up to the room with George, and soon, a bit later, Ted arrives, and he tries to call the circus director and tell him what's going on, but it doesn't get him on the line. I think there's like a long waiting line or something. So George and Kayla wanders off to the train station to go to California, where her family is like a zoo or something. So of course Ted loses sight of them, but he managed to figure out that they're at the train station, and George and Kayla are on this cargo container for animals, and Ted managed to get there, but he gets trapped in there as well, and there's some commotion back and forward, and that leads to Ted falling out of the moving train, landing unscathed, going to a train station because his phone battery is dead. So he used a payphone to call the circus director, and this time he actually managed to get a clear signal. Throughout this, there's a big misunderstanding where they think that Ted has kidnapped this elephant, and there's a ransoming sum and everything, and this guy called Wolf, he's an undercover agent. Supposedly he doesn't do a very good job. He's supposed to track down this elephant napper. So while this is happening, Ted hangs up the phone. He tries to chase back to catch up with the train because he needs to refuel, I think. And meanwhile this is happening, Kayla and George are trying to grab some breakfast, or basically George steals some fruit from the French cook on the train. So Ted managed to catch up with the train with a motorcycle, and he almost about to drive over a bridge when Kayla grabs her with her trunk. So they managed to separate the train parts, so the other half of the train kind of slides off and it kind of glides to a stop. And then they walk out to a road and they hitchhike, but to the wrong way, because George the monkey flipped the sign and they're going to California anyway. So they end up in a farm where this little girl and this farmer called Dan is living, and they do farming stuff. And this is where Ted figures out why Kayla is going to California, to basically get reunited with her family. But he's struggling with the whole idea of him actually needing to return the elephant to the circus and all of that. But when this is happening, the private eye Wolf arrives, and he tries to grab Kayla, and he gets tackled by a pig and they're off to the zoo. So what happens is that Kayla goes to the zoo and she gets reunited with her family, but she gets captured by Wolf and his men, and they're supposed to get back to the circus, basically. So they're transporting the elephant by train, and Ted and George are handcuffed and on the plane. So George basically steals the key from the from Wolf, and he managed to free himself, and Kayla, Ted, and George, they parachute from the plane because of course there's an elephant parachute. And Wolf jumps after them, but there's this funny scene where he actually jumps without a parachute and somehow managed to survive, and he gets the elephant on top of him somehow anyways. So what happens is that Kayla has to go back to the zoo, but in the end, it turns out well. She gets reunited with the family, and they start to work with the circus, like a family act, I guess. And Ted actually gets the job as a museum director because he has a good sales pitch. He talks about the journey that he made so far and what it's all about. It's about family and whatnot, so he gets something out of it, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. So what do I think about Curious George 2? Follow That Monkey. It's a good kids movie, made for kids, not adults. There's not much more to say about it. I don't think that kids will understand the family drama that's going on and the struggles that Ted is going through. He's just basically trying to get this new position, a new job. He's trying to do a good thing while a monkey and elephant decides to go on an adventure to California and get a family reunion. But it's a short little movie, something different that I normally would never pick up. It was a cheap movie that was like, well, I picked it up at a grocery store and I was like, yeah, I don't even know what I'm gonna watch. And I was like, Curious George, that's a kid's movie. Like, I think it's a book series as well. It's like, yeah, why not? It can't be worse than some other movies in the discount bin. But yeah, I don't think I have that much more to say about it. But it was good for what it was, a short little movie. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.